When Jungkook attended the Calvin Klein fashion show at New York Fashion Week, the attention he drew went far beyond what is typical for a celebrity appearance. The event itself was already one of the most anticipated showcases of the season, given Calvin Klein's global stature and the prestige attached to NYFW. Yet, the involvement of Jungkook, one of the most influential pop figures globally and the face of Calvin Klein's campaigns, elevated the show into a phenomenon that extended beyond the boundaries of fashion. Many models, fellow artists, and industry insiders openly acknowledged how unusual and powerful his presence felt. Among them was Rosalía, who expressed clear admiration, noting that Jungkook had managed to turn the show into the defining highlight of New York Fashion Week. To understand why his participation resonated so widely, it is essential to examine the layered factors that contributed to this outcome. His impact did not emerge from a single dimension, but from a combination of cultural influence, strategic branding, and the unique intersection of music, fashion, and global celebrity power. The show became more than a showcase of seasonal collections. It became an intersection of industries, music, luxury, and digital media. Jungkook's attendance ensured that the event was not limited to those physically present in New York, but was broadcast in real time across continents through social media. Clips of him entering the venue, interacting with other figures, or simply being seated instantly dominated platforms like X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. For Calvin Klein, this meant that their show extended far beyond its walls. Professional models are not easily impressed by celebrities, as they are accustomed to working alongside high-profile names in the fashion circuit. Yet, Jungkook's presence drew noticeable reaction. Several models who attended the show were captured on video or interviewed afterward, expressing how refreshing it was to see someone from the music world command the fashion stage so effortlessly. For models who dedicate their careers to embodying brand narratives on runways, seeing an artist successfully embody the same vision was striking. Their recognition was not about fandom, but about professional respect. Among all attendees, Rosalía's reaction stood out because she articulated what many in the room seemed to feel. As an artist herself, Rosalía understood the challenges of crossing industries and winning credibility outside one's original domain. For her, Jungkook's ability to take an event already filled with major names and make it feel transformed into something more significant underscored his global appeal. Her comment that Jungkook made NYFW's Calvin Klein show the best in New York was not mere hyperbole. It reflected how the event shifted its gravity once his participation became central. Instead of being just another installment in a long week of presentations, the show became the defining cultural marker of that NYFW season. Rosalía's admiration also illustrates how Jungkook's influence is recognized beyond fan communities. As an artist from a completely different musical background, her acknowledgement confirms that his impact is cross-genre, cross-industry, and cross-cultural. Another dimension of why models and artists were captivated lies in how Jungkook's presence amplified the event digitally. Fashion shows are no longer confined to select industry insiders. With platforms driving visibility, the success of a showcase is often measured by the traction it generates online. In this regard, Jungkook's involvement was unmatched. Within minutes of his appearance, hashtags related to him and the Calvin Klein show began trending worldwide. His outfit, interactions, and seating arrangement were dissected by millions of fans and casual viewers alike. Importantly, this created a secondary effect. Even those who did not initially follow NYFW or Calvin Klein became aware of the brand's activities due to his presence. This phenomenon benefited everyone involved. For models, their runway moments reached audiences far larger than they would in a traditional setup. For Calvin Klein, the brand received advertising exposure worth millions without direct investment in media buys. For NYFW itself, it reinforced the event's relevance in an increasingly crowded global fashion calendar. To understand why models and peers were particularly struck by Jungkook, it is important to consider what differentiates him from other celebrities. His brand alignment with Calvin Klein is not superficial. He has consistently been positioned as the face of campaigns that balance minimalism with boldness, qualities that resonate with the brand's core identity. Moreover, Jungkook's appeal is not limited to his music, career, or fandom. His visual presentation, discipline, and ability to embody diverse aesthetics make him uniquely suited for the fashion world. Models recognize that while many celebrities attend fashion events, few genuinely fit within the aesthetic framework of the brands they represent. Jungkook, however, integrates seamlessly, making his appearance natural rather than forced. This credibility explains why industry insiders, including models, were not just polite but genuinely impressed. They could see that his influence was not manufactured hype but grounded in a strong synergy between individual and brand. 6. Broader implications for NYFW. Jungkook's effect on Calvin Klein's showcase also had broader implications for the Fashion Week as a whole. New York Fashion Week has historically competed with Paris, Milan, and London for dominance. While it remains highly respected, it occasionally faces criticism for being less cutting-edge than its European counterparts. Jungkook's presence helped offset such concerns. By anchoring one of NYFW's headline shows, he brought global attention to the event that may have otherwise been distributed more evenly across other fashion capitals. In doing so, he reinforced New York's relevance as a stage where not only fashion, but also cultural convergence happens. This matters because NYFW thrives on perception. The idea that its shows can capture mainstream and global media in ways rival cities cannot strengthen its positioning. Jungkook, in this sense, did not just elevate Calvin Klein, but contributed to New York's identity as a fashion capital. 7. Industry reactions beyond the event. The admiration expressed by Rosalía and other models was echoed in post-event commentary from fashion critics and publications. Articles highlighted how Jungkook's involvement shifted the tone of the show, framing it less as a seasonal release and more as a cultural moment. Several outlets described the event as one of the most memorable of the week, specifically crediting the synergy between Calvin Klein's designs and Jungkook's star power. Critics noted that while celebrity involvement is common, the scale of reaction Jungkook received was unprecedented. This distinction emphasizes that his role cannot be reduced to another celebrity sighting. Instead, it marked a case study in how modern fashion events are shaped by global figures whose appeal transcends industries. 8. The long-term value of this moment. For Calvin Klein, Jungkook's success at NYFW goes beyond immediate headlines. It creates long-term value by associating the brand with cultural dominance. Models and artists who witness the event firsthand will carry that impression into future collaborations. Consumers who saw the digital content will associate Calvin Klein with a sense of cultural centrality. For Jungkook himself, the admiration he received strengthens his credibility within the fashion industry. This opens possibilities for future partnerships, whether with Calvin Klein or other brands, aiming to harness similar cross-industry influence. For NYFW, the moment becomes part of its history, referenced in future seasons as an example of how the event can command worldwide attention. One of the main reasons models and artists respected Jungkook's role was authenticity. In fashion, authenticity determines whether a collaboration feels convincing or contrived. Many celebrities accept brand invitations for exposure, yet their presence feels transactional. Jungkook, by contrast, had already established a multi-season partnership with Calvin Klein, supported by campaigns that resonated globally. This continuity created credibility. Audiences did not see him as parachuting into fashion for publicity, but as someone embedded within the brand's narrative. The models, who constantly navigate questions of authenticity in their own work, recognized this alignment and acknowledged it through admiration. The admiration Jungkook received, including Rosalia's praise, reflected a larger shift in how fashion shows are understood. Traditionally, these events functioned as trade presentations, designed to show collections to buyers and media. Today, they are cultural performances with global spectatorship. Jungkook's involvement exemplified this evolution. His presence redefined the Calvin Klein showcase as not just a product unveiling but as a cultural event that integrated fashion, celebrity, and digital connectivity. This reframing is significant because it signals how fashion shows are expected to operate moving forward, not merely as closed industry gatherings, but as open spectacles capable of capturing global attention. For Calvin Klein, Jungkook's success at NYFW validated its strategy of aligning with figures who hold international resonance. The brand has long relied on bold ambassadors, but the scale of his impact marked a new threshold. Executives and analysts observed that the brand's global search interest spiked in direct correlation with his appearance, reinforcing the tangible commercial benefits of his involvement. Models and industry observers noticed this too. They understood that Calvin Klein was not only presenting a collection, but testing a model of cultural dominance through its partnership with Jungkook. The fact that this strategy drew admiration from peers confirmed its effectiveness. The reactions at NYFW highlight lessons for the broader fashion industry. Integration over invitation. Celebrities must be integrated into brand narratives, not just invited for visibility. Authenticity matters. Audiences, including professional insiders, respect ambassadors who align naturally with a brand's image. Social media dominates. The runway is now a digital space, with amplification often exceeding the physical event. Cross-industry figures hold power. Artists like Jungkook, who span music, fashion, and digital culture, create unmatched momentum. For models, these lessons shape how they view the evolving industry landscape. For brands, they emphasize the importance of strategic partnerships. For cultural observers, they demonstrate how figures like Jungkook are redefining boundaries between industries. Rosalia's praise functioned as more than a personal comment. In the highly competitive and skeptical environment of NYFW, validation from peers legitimizes moments that could otherwise be dismissed as hype. Her statement ensured that Jungkook's effect was recognized not only by fans, but also within the professional ecosystem. By acknowledging him, she set a precedent. Artists and models can openly respect cross-industry figures when they demonstrate credibility. This cultural endorsement reinforced the perception that Jungkook's presence was not peripheral but central to the success of the Calvin Klein show. The admiration shown by models, the acknowledgement from Rosalía, and the analyses of critics indicate that Jungkook's NYFW appearance was more than an isolated highlight. It signaled a template for future events, where the integration of globally resonant figures into fashion showcases becomes an expected strategy. For Calvin Klein, It set a benchmark for how to utilize ambassadors effectively. For NYFW, it created one of the season's defining stories. And for Jungkook, it solidified his standing not only as a music icon, but as a cultural figure whose presence reshapes industries.